Welcome everyone to the Analytic Mind podcast. Got a really exciting episode for you today. I'm here with Alex Badiu, and Alex is coming to us from Paris in France. And Alex is one of our, a big part of our community at Enterprise DNA. He's one of our Enterprise DNA experts and has been almost like a pillar of the Power BI challenges, creating some of the most incredible Power BI reports and designs and navigation experiences that I have literally seen anywhere. So I'm super excited to try and dive into Alex's mind and see how he thinks about and goes about creating his work inside of Power BI specifically, but also just maybe learn a little bit more about how he's applying it within his organization as well. So Alex, I might just throw it over to you if that's all right. And maybe you just want to give us a bit of an intro, just sort of describe who you are, what you've done in the past, what you're doing now. I think that would be really good to start off, to kick things off that way.
Okay, so hello everyone, hello Sam. So my name is Alex and I'm living and working in Paris, in France. And I'm working in finance department. I studied finance and starting working in controlling here. I had several jobs, so several positions. I worked in controlling. I worked also as a business analyst. I worked also in project management, in developing informational systems, and then I switched to business intelligence and worked with different visualization tools, working with Tableau and then with Power BI.
Yeah. Cool. And where do you work currently?
So I'm working in Edenred in France. Mm-hmm. It's a multinational company with it's very international. And especially deployed in Europe and also in United States and South America.
Mm-hmm. And is it like, are we talking tens of thousands of people in your organization, or less than that?
It's 10,000, around 10,000.
Wow. Amazing. So you've had a varied backgrounds, and I think it's important for us to sort of set the stage a little bit, because somehow through your varied background, you've been able to collect this knowledge around creativity and report development that is incredible. Like some of the submissions that you've been posting in the community, in the Enterprise DNA community, and in the Power BI challenges are just absolutely world class. And so I just want to try and understand a little bit more about where you think you were able to learn how to bring a lot of these things together, to actually build really superior analytical models. I mean, it's not just, we don't just have to talk about Power BI here. It could just be, anything to do with analytical solutions. Like, how have you sort of built up your experience level to be able to create such high quality output?
I think it's coming also with the experience. I mean, I started doing analysis in Excel in finance, and I was producing a lot of tables and a lot of variances. So I had to do all kinds of small adjustments to send to people. And I realized when I was doing reports in Excel that people were reacting better when they had something that was better visually. So it was something that was presented in a good way. And so everything started with the analysis part. And I think this is the most important part. It's conveying and building the message you want to send. And for the visual part, I think I always liked the visual aspect. I mean, when I was in high school, I was developing dashboards in Flash, so technology we do not use very much today. But even though I didn't know it will help me in the future, maybe it helped me with the design part. And then in 2015, 2016, I discovered Power BI, and I switched from Excel to Power BI. I started to do my first dashboards, which I looked at today, and they were not that bad. I mean, I can say that I had some good reports even in the beginning of Power BI, and when I started working with Tableau, which is the other data visualization tool, I really started to pay attention to the visual part. So I started to learn a lot about storytelling and about how to send a message and about all the design aspects. And also, of course, in the company, we are doing a lot of presentations. So we use all the time PowerPoint. So in time, you also learn how you create your PowerPoint and how you create your story so that people can engage with what you present. And at the end, you have feedback, or you have an action plan so that you can go further. So I think I'm trying to build the same things in the reports, and I know that you have to pay attention more to the design and on the analysis when you create something in Power BI, because maybe you'll not always be there to explain to people what is the message you want to say, what is the finding you want to put in front of them. So I'm really trying to create something that is very clear, one message per page or per analysis, and trying to write titles, subtitles, and comments that will help users understand what I want to say.
That's brilliant. I mean, there's a lot of great ideas and tips in the answer that you just gave, and I'd like to just dive into that a little bit more, because not everyone has this creative spark, but it's obvious that you've built yours up over time. You obviously, when you were a little bit younger, you had a sort of creative aspect to how you approach things. But how do you think, like, what are some things that you've used to really excel in the design and the creative side of things over time? Like, maybe some resources or some ideas about how others could be able to learn how to create compelling looking reports. Because I just want to, I mean, one thing I'll just add before that is that this to me, the creative side is almost is probably the biggest thing that is missing from so many reports that I see. And I've always had a philosophy that making sure things look really compelling is absolutely crucial for that engagement of your consumers and your stakeholders, etc. So that's why I really want to dive into it, because I think that everyone can really leverage off how you've sort of built yourself up to where you are at now.
So yeah, what I think it works very well is the challenges. I mean, the challenges that are organized by Enterprise DNA are the perfect spot where you can train, where you can test, and where you can have feedback. I think feedback is very, very important when you want to learn and you want to improve, because you will see how people react. And you know that in an environment that is completely open, when people are open to give their feedback and be honest and say, okay, this I think doesn't work that well, or this works well, I think this is really helping, and it gives you confidence to test more and to try things that you never tried. I think that when you are in the working environment, you will not take the risk. You will use things that you already know that work well. But you need a space, you need a lab where you can test new things and you can learn from others. I mean, I think creativity is really something that comes with training. You see what others create, you try to, what I'm doing also when I see the challenges, the submissions of of the other members, I'm trying to take notes. I'm trying to take, I don't know, print screens and say, I like this. I like this because it was used there. So in time, even in my challenges, I can see that I'm starting to use some aspects, some visual elements that were used by other members, and maybe I use them in a slightly different way, but I think they work well, and they work well for the others, so it should work also for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you don't have to be afraid. I mean, uh, if you do some mistakes, it's no problem. I mean, who can judge? You just want to test and you want to improve. And then with time, you're gonna see that all the sites where you go, all the applications, you'll find out that you have a new navigation that you can put into Power BI. You can see some UX, UI elements that can be interesting. You can read a book about dashboards. You can read a book about UX, UI. I think all these elements are helping us create better dashboards.
I love that. I love that. And I think that you're exactly right about the Power BI challenges that we run at Enterprise DNA. And this isn't something that I even planned out when I decided that we wanted to do this, is that it's an incredible feedback mechanism for testing out all of your creative thoughts and your ideas around Power BI implementations and report building. So that's been a fantastic ancillary thing that has been developed with the Power BI challenges. So it's great to hear that even yourself has been really benefiting from participating. And I know for sure we're all benefiting from your participation as well. You know, just learning how you've put some of these together, and I also know that you're going to maybe create some content for us as well, some actual video content, which I'm super excited about, because you know it's just some world-class stuff that is being produced. Now, you mentioned storytelling a little bit earlier, and I wanna get your vibe around how you think about telling a good story, because this certainly is one thing that I always get out of reviewing your submissions, is that they always just tell a compelling story. And it's something that if I was a stakeholder within an organization and I was able to have a look at this report every day and would tell me a new story based on the new data that's coming in, you know, it's something that it would become like mission critical for me. I can just imagine it. And so I want to understand how you think about your storytelling, you know, and also maybe some tips around how others can do it.
So yeah, so storytelling, it's there are a lot of things to say about storytelling. It's something that you prepare. It's something that where you need to have a plan, and you need to think about who is the target. So who is the person who will see the report? This is very important. And what is the position of that person? So in the sense that when you're an analyst, I think all the analysts have they are used to make analysis where they put in front facts, and at the end they put some, I don't know, some solutions. But when they present this to some managers, some CFOs, some CEOs, what they're interested in is to seeing the solution and then finding out the facts. So sometimes when you do this kind of storytelling, you start with the solution, and then you make your story with the facts, and you describe all the elements. So this is one kind of strategy. Another strategy is to follow a story path, meaning that you have a beginning, and then you have a conflict, so you have a tension that grows, and then you have the problem and the solutions, and then you go to I don't know, to the solutions you want to put in place in order to solve the problem. So I think this is the natural way for people to describe or to tell a story. and it's the same path you have to do when you create reports. But I think this is the most element part, is to really understand what you want to do, to whom you have to do it, and what is the journey, the path the user will take to get to the end of the story. So I think, yeah, if you think something like this, it can vary, but yeah, that's why I'm using in the reports all the techniques to and all the navigation to say the story, but not everything once. I'm trying to do some steps, and to give also a pleasure for the end user to navigate and to test and to find answers to their questions.
Does your story evolve as you're developing your report, or are you sort of writing down how you want to tell the story right before you even do anything, like right at the start?
So right at the start, I'm trying to understand what is the purpose. So I'm trying to really understand the data and everything I have. And I'm pretty fast. I'm starting to write the main idea. So I want to be really focused on the subject. So I'm trying to resume all the problem to just one sentence or two sentences. Then when I'm trying to create the reports, uh, the story might change a bit in the sense that I can try to say something. I'm trying to do some visualizations or some techniques, and sometimes it's not that easy. I can't really find, or I can't really create exactly what I imagined in the beginning. So there's this tension, this interior tension that you have to handle, and all these aspects, in order to rebound and to find new solutions to create the story you want to create. But in the beginning, you set the path you want to take, and then it's just the way you describe the story.
Mm. What I think, to me, it seems like you've got a bit of a framework around how you do it, and I really like that, and I think that's some really valuable tips for our listeners, especially. So when you, and hopefully we can just build this out a little bit. So when you start off building your solution or your model, I presume you don't get into any of the design aspects from the start. You just do some quick prototyping and try and figure out what the data is actually telling you. Is that
Yeah,
seem right?
that's true. I mean, I'm starting the visual part really at the end of the process. Most of the time, I'm trying to find out what is the story, what is the direction I want to take, and I explore all kinds of, or I explore the data. But when I start to create, for example, the color themes in my, or the backgrounds in my report, I mean, it's basically at the end of the challenge, because I'm doing like this because I really want to use the backgrounds or the colors to set up a tone to the general background. I mean, it can be white background or dark background. It can be something attention. You have to look at this, or so you really. I mean, you don't have to decide from the beginning what are the colors, what are the graphs, or any of that. I mean, I think in the write-ups, I'm putting some print screens of my reports, how they look at the beginning. I mean, they're only tables, no special effects, nothing. It's just tables and data and facts.
Yeah, I love that, and I think that because when some Power BI developers look at really nice reports, they think, oh, how do I even get to that? How do I get to that point? And you get a bit overawed by what it takes to actually get to this end product that looks really compelling. But I think the key takeaway there is just don't worry about that stuff early on. Just get your model, your tables optimized, your model developed. Just try and first of all work out the story that can be told with the data. try and really drill into the key aspects of the data. And then once you nail those down and you really understand what you're trying to tell with your report, well, that's when you can start thinking about a little bit more about the creative side of things. Maybe, find some inspiration around how you want to design a report after that time. And, to me, it sounds like that is how you are generally approaching things.
Yes, and then there's, I think, the videos you can find on the platform, they are very useful. I mean, I'm still watching these videos, and there are a lot of techniques and a lot of segmentations and a lot of tips that you describe that are very useful, and then they can be implemented in the reports. So all these techniques, it's also something I learned from the platform, and I'm trying myself to test them out and to see how it goes in the reports. So you have everything on the platform, really. I mean, it's maybe the background or the colors that you can find on Google or on Bing that can help you put something interesting or some colors. But from the technical point of view, from the analytical point of view, and also from the visual point of view, there are a lot of reports and a lot of examples you did in the past that are very, very useful.
That's great. That's great. So you've been able to leverage off even some of my own work in the past.
Of course. Of course. I think that every report I create, there's something I learn on the platform.
That's great. That's great. Now we're okay. So I think that's some sort of stuff like and this is a big recommendation from how you approach it. I think this is really valuable. Is don't worry about the creative side to begin with. Really dig into the data. Try and find out what the story is that you can tell around the data that you've got. Then once you know that story, once you know what that story is, then you can overlay some analytical techniques with some formula or with some modeling. And then once you get to that point, because you can really dive into the key parts of the story, well, that's when the creative side comes in. That's where the design comes in. And I think that's where we'll go to next. Once you get to that point, where do you look for inspiration around your designs? Because some of your designs are so unique and so out there. You're obviously, maybe you're dreaming, maybe you're going to sleep and dreaming these up. But is there places that you go to that give you inspiration around how you design these?
Yeah, I think there's no special place where I can find inspiration. I think I can find inspiration everywhere. I mean, I can use my phone and find an application and find some buttons or a navigation that I remember. It's like practice. I see a lot of things that are interesting. I record them somewhere in my head, and sometimes when I see when I'm advanced in a challenge, I can say, okay, maybe I can use this. Or sometimes I can watch Dribble or Pinterest, and I can find some visual aspects from the design point of view. I can look at logos, I can look at images, I can look at graphs that can be created in Power BI, but basically they are rarely made in Power BI. They are made in Photoshop, Illustrator, or other tools. But the image, the way the colors are constructed, the graphs that are presented can inspire me to create something. And sometimes I have in my mind, I don't know, an inspiration, a photo, and at the end, my report it has something like that, but completely different. It's something like that, like the reports you created. You have the images that you show on the platform, and when you are inspired by these techniques, you create something, but at the end, it can be much better than the original photo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more. And one thing I think would be worth highlighting here is that now, I mean, obviously my background's more Power BI, so I can speak to that a little bit better. But the flexibility that you have with the way you design your reports, within Power BI, is incredible, really. I mean, you can literally get inspiration from anything. You get inspiration from a website or a PowerPoint presentation, and there is ways to replicate that in some way inside of Power BI. Now, this wasn't always the case, but it certainly is now with all of these new features and elements that they're bringing into the design side of things. Are you? I was wondering, because you've also got some Tableau experience as well. Is it the same on Tableau? Do you have that same flexibility and around how you can actually design things to what we have now with Power BI?
Well, it depends. I really liked working on Tableau, and Tableau is a very visual tool. I mean, it was made to have the flexibility of creating custom visuals and create really whatever you want to create. The advantage of Power BI is the analytical point of view. The fact that you can have DAX, that you have M, and you can put your data in a way that will facilitate the way you present. I think this is the major advantage of Power BI. I think that the two tools allow the users to create a lot of visuals and a lot of way of presenting the data. And if you want to create some really nice visualizations in Tableau, you really need to be very advanced also in using Tableau. It's the same in Power BI. If you really want to do very nice dashboards and very nice analysis, you need to know also DAX, you need to know also M, you need to know also visualizations. So yeah, the tool is what I think what is important is what you want to create, the story you want to create, because this story you can create it in Tableau, in Power BI, in Click, or in PowerPoint. It doesn't matter the tool. What matters is the story, the analysis, and the path you take to tell the story to someone in order to have an action plan or something.
Right. Now, are you translating a lot of these creative ideas into the workplace? So the Power BI challenge, I know, is a venue where you can really extend your creative mind and your analytical mind as much as possible. Do you feel like it is translating into work that you are doing or others are doing within the workplace?
Yes. I think very fast you can see the effects of these challenges in my daily work. I mean, I can come with examples. I'm working for finance, but sometimes I'm talking with people that are not coming from the financial world, and I cannot really show them the reports I create them because the data can be sensitive. But I can show them what Power BI can do. You can have countries that can say, okay, I would like to go on Power BI, but what can I do in Power BI? So I can show them the reports I created and say, okay, you can do this and you can do that. And if you need some help, I can help you. And this is something that is very useful. And then for the reports I'm creating myself, I can find some techniques to incorporate and improve the visuals and the way I'm working. So sometimes I can really gain a lot of time because I can take the report, the navigation or the visuals or the backgrounds, and I can really implement them very fast in a report. So this is something that really helps, and it helps in my work. It helps also others because I can share new things with them. And also the challenges help me a lot in the self-control part, because as in the daily job, you have to do a report in a specific timeline. You have to respect your time. You have to respect your engagement. And in a challenge, you have 2 weeks to create your report. After 1 week, maybe you are behind, maybe you have some problems, so you have to go back, but you really need to finish your report in time. So this is something that helps you prepare in your work and be more in control of your work, and do not let the stress affect your daily job. So I think there are really many things that you can take from these challenges in your daily job.
That's great. When you are showcasing your excellent work to your colleagues internally, what are some of the reactions that you get?
They say they couldn't think that you can do reports like this in Power BI.
Yeah.
They
And
never
so,
saw reporting like this in any tool they had before.
so are they completely bought in? Are they like come and are they basically like come and do all my analysis for me right now, or like how is it kind of how are you continuing the impact longer term with all your stakeholders?
Well, when I present this to them, I'm working in Paris for the corporate company, so I cannot really create reports for everyone. But what I propose to them is to come into a shared community and stay in touch there. And if they have questions, to ask the questions they have, and I will answer, and I will help them. So I will not make reports for everyone, but I will help them improve their skills so that they can achieve their own reports.
And how are you building this community within your organization? Is there specific tools that you're using for collaboration?
So we are using mostly internal tools from Microsoft tools. So we have Teams. Then we have also a private social program. So we discuss there, and yeah, we can share reports, we can share news, we can share blogs, videos. So yeah, we stay in touch like this.
And how because obviously you're not in the IT team or anything like that. You're not even in the data and analytics team. You're sort of more on the front lines in corporate and finance. So how are you how are you finding the deployment of Power BI? What are the best? What are some of the challenges maybe? But also some of the wins that you are having doing more on the self-service side of things.
I think deployment of Power BI, what is very important, is the governance aspect. I think people need to be aware of what they can do, and to set up common rules of what people should do or should not do, especially if you are in a premium environment. You have to know what are the best practices. You need to know how to work, and you really need to work in a same way with the other countries. So you need to be in control of what is created. Then the self BI, I think it's very important. That's something every company, I think they target to go over self BI. But before going to self BI, you need to have different controls to make sure that people do the right thing, and to give them the opportunity to create, to grow, to learn, and to put in place analysis that they need. So it's good, for example, to have a sandbox environment and a production environment, and have people control the reports that have to switch from one environment to the other, and all kinds of aspects like this.
Mm. And was all this was this set up as you were getting into Power BI, or has this evolved as you have sort of showcased what Power BI can do?
Everything evolves. Even the tool evolves. Every month we have new things. And from the governance point of view, what we have now, it was not possible 2 years ago. I mean, even today, the news we find about composite models, they really change the perspective and the way the reports will be done in the future. So it's very important to be aware, and to really learn and continue learning and watching what's happening with Power BI. But of course, the tool and the adoption of the tool increases with good people creating reports and answering the good questions. Because also in a company, it doesn't matter your report is very, very good and very, I don't know, from the design point of view, it really needs to be useful. And you don't it has to be useful, but and also it has to be shown in the right moment. So show the good data at a good moment, and also if you have also a good report from the design point of view, it will also help. But in the company, I think what comes first is the performance of the tool, and then the design of the report.
Yeah, both to me are very key aspects of you. Sort of missing one of those, it really detracts from the value and the impact that you can have from your analytical solution that you've developed. One thing that I think would be good to just to go into next is, so you're sitting in your current role, and you're in the sort of corporate area, the finance area of the organization. How are you? There's probably many aspects to your role, right? There's many pieces of analysis that you can do. Maybe you need to do some forecasting analysis. Maybe you need to do some financial reporting. Maybe you need to do some markets analysis or payments analysis or something like that, bank account analysis. How do you go about structuring which reports to build? Because I think what we can see within organizations, and I have seen this myself, is that even within a small business function, you have 20 to 30 reports. And so I think it's a challenge, but also important to work out, okay, how can we consolidate all of the relevant information into maybe 4 or 5 reports, that span maybe 3 to 5 pages. So I want to sort of just understand how you've tackled that within your current role, because I think that's going to be really valuable, for others to develop a framework around how they can approach that too.
Yeah, I think that the answer of this question is good project management. I mean, you need to have a common project between departments. Even in finance, you can have different finance, accounting, treasury, and other departments. You need to have a common goal. You need to identify who are the users who will look at these reports. You need to really understand their daily job. What are the problems? What are they how they are working today? Where are they losing time? You need to really assess all these aspects. You need to write it down. You need to ask questions. I think you really need to listen what's going on, and then you need to work with them, because we are also talking about change management. People are not used to using BI tools, so you need to engage with them very early, and also work with them on prototypes even before working on the project. And then, in finance, especially in big companies, you really have a lot of data. So you can't do everything. You need to engage also with the good resources from the data engineer point of view, a data scientist, maybe if you have predictions, and you have to have a sponsor. So you have to have the buy-in of the management, because that's also something that will drive the change. So if you have all these aspects and you really do the project management part as you need, and you really focus and put a planning in front of the project, and you show to the end users what they will have at the end, I think this is the key of having a good project and having also a good buy-in from the end users.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like you're suggesting that there's got to be some good planning here. You can't, you don't just want to throw tools in front of everyone from day one. You want to try and work across cross-functional, have a cross-functional strategy where everyone is sort of planning things out a little bit. With that, how have you, within Power BI, we have these workspaces, and what I want to understand, and I'm not sure if there's a similar thing in Tableau, maybe there is, but how have you gone about setting up your workspaces within your company? Has it been by business function? Has it been within teams within business functions? How has that been organized?
Well, I think we do not have a common rule for all the company. It is set up. I think it was created by the people who are designers in Power BI, which are not so many. So everyone organized as they wanted a bit, and then they started to be more to pay attention of how they work with these workspaces once we switched on premium. So yeah, the workspaces we create, we pay attention of how we name them. For example, we have also some abbreviations of the countries to know from which countries these workspaces are coming, and then yeah, we are working on premium, so we are watching how we can do also the difference between personal workspaces, sandbox workspaces, testing workspaces, etc.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I think that a lot of organizations, as Power BI has evolved and grown in popularity, are finding that they are just swamped in workspaces. There's just so many historic workspaces that have been created, then a new workspace is created. And I was, I just wanted to understand a little bit more in a real world aspect, how to maybe manage that a little bit better, or from your perspective, how would you manage it a little bit better? By the sounds of it, maybe are you saying that you had some prototyping workspaces, but then you also had some production workspaces, and then you also maybe had it broken down by region? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's exactly like this. I think we had, when we switched to premium, we really paid attention to all these workspaces. So we started analyzing and seeing what do we have, and we switched only what we wanted on premium. So we had this work done, and that was very useful, and it showed us that we really have to pay attention and have very clear governance rules for all these aspects. But yeah, you have by region, you can have by department, you can have there are many ways of organizing, but you really need a strong governance all around the world. That means a very tight governance to really impose a way of organizing, and yeah, it can work for some companies. For some companies, there's a lot of freedom, I think, for different countries. So I think there's no example, a best practice that can work everywhere. So it's something quite difficult to answer. I don't have a solution, a perfect solution for organizing this.
Yeah, I think this is really a challenge that a lot of organizations are facing. I know this for a fact, and I think some of it has to do with especially with Power BI. The product has evolved so much. Like the ability to create apps, for example, has only been within workspaces has only been around for 12 to 18 months. That whole redesign of the online service in particular. Has meant that you probably need to evolve how you organize your workspaces. So I think, to me, my take is that it can evolve, like how you organize the governance around these workspaces and the way that you collaborate within small teams. It can evolve, and I think that it depends on the business requirements. That you maybe you want to create workspaces around sort of like your agile units, that focus on, say, customer satisfaction, or it doesn't even need to be about departments or teams. It could be about a whole range of things. It's totally depends on how you want to how you want to structure it, how you want to govern it within your own environments.
I completely agree. It evolves a lot, the tool, and that's also the beauty of the tool. It's you can really organize as you want, and I think the most important part is to really separate the production and then the sandbox for new users, especially that if you want to go towards self BI, and give the possibility to people to learn Power BI, to test the Power BI, and be there in support to help them achieve the good level of knowledge so that they can be independent and answer their own questions.
Yeah, I really love that, actually. And this is one of my own big learnings, is that you do want to, if you want to empower a self-service, have a space where everyone can prototype and they can test, but then also have a space where, like the production space, where the reports that you really push out to your executives and your management level, and maybe make it all the way up to the board. And these are the reports that have been audited and have been, everyone is, there's a confidence level that the reports are the one version of the truth. So I think splitting those development areas apart is crucial, and just if you sort of just give everyone free reign, and then everyone just starts throwing up their prototypes in all of these meetings, I think that's where you can get into a bit of a mess.
Yeah, exactly. I think you said the right word. BI is about confidence. It takes time to build the confidence, and the confidence can be lost very fast. So you have to really pay attention to this, and really be aware of all this single point of truth about performance, about the reports you create. But because what you want to avoid is to have the same kind of report, but with different data that is presented in the same time to executive or to the board. So this is something that you have to pay attention.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting to the end here, Alex. So I think we'll just finish with a couple more questions. I want to throw this one out to you. What is some of the most interesting things that you are doing right now with Power BI? You don't have to get into specifics, but what maybe like some a broad overview, like the impact, like what sort of impact are you having yourself with some of the Power BI work that you are doing within your business?
I think what is interesting in the position I have now is that the reports I build, they have a huge population. There are a lot of people who will look at these reports. So it will have an impact not only in France, but maybe in 10, 20 countries in the same time. So I think these kind of reports can also set a limit. It can be an example of what it can be done with Power BI if it is done correctly. So I really like these projects I'm working on, because I know they will help in the adoption of the tool inside all the organization. And what I would like to see is that one day everyone can have access to these reports, and so that they can concentrate more on analyzing and creating good storytelling for their presentations, and driving change, not only from the BI point of view, but also from the organization point of view. I think this is the purpose of the BI, and I think I'm in a good position to drive this change.
Yeah, my key takeaway from that is that you're getting immense scale out of your activities, like what you are doing, right? In the past, we were all so siloed, and the best you could probably produce was like a PowerPoint presentation, that would be hidden in some SharePoint folder. But now you're creating something in one part of the world, you're putting it up into the Power BI online service, into the cloud, and then that report is literally one click away for everyone in every region on any device. And that just brings in, and if you can get multiple people doing exactly the same thing, you just get this huge, just sounds like you get this immense scale out of your BI activities that just wasn't possible before.
Yeah, I think this is something very good, because at the end of the day, we are working with people, and when you help people do their job better, and when you help them, reduce the manual work, I think everyone is happy and everyone is working with pleasure, and everyone will do their best to have the biggest impact in the jobs they have. And I think BI is something, business intelligence is something everyone is going to today, especially for Power BI, with the cloud, with all the tools and all the technologies we have today. And it's very interesting to see what is the path Microsoft will take, or Tableau will take, and all the industry, because for sure this is the future.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting where things are going. This leads me to the last question. Last question before we round off, because it's been an awesome episode, gone over lots of great aspects of your experience, and I've learned a little bit about your storytelling framework, especially, which I've really liked. But last question. What are you most excited about in the space of BI and Power BI in particular for the future? There's a lot of development happening, and there's obviously it's not going to stop. So, what are some of the things that you're really excited about? How you'll be able to use these tools in the future?
Well, there are a lot of things I'm excited about from I think what is important is this the composite models. I think they are going to be very important for the organization. Then the tool also has more and more artificial intelligence, AI analysis that I think also will develop in the future, and it will facilitate the creation of reports and the Q&A. I think this is also something that can be very interesting to follow. And also what I like about Power BI is that you have a lot of content today compared to, I don't know, 4 or 3 years ago. And everyone finds out every day that you have more possibilities to do in this tool. And with the challenges I see on Enterprise DNA, I can see that the limits are how do you say, are broke all the time, and I can see reports that I couldn't believe that they can be created before. I can see analysis that I couldn't believe that it can be created. So from the learning point of view, it opens your mind, and it really shows you that you never have to stop learning. You never have to stop saying that you are an expert or you know everything. So I think this is something that I'm excited, because I like to learn, and I like to see what others are doing with this tool.
Great. That's a super way to end. And I think just having that, I certainly get this vibe from you that you've got this intellectual curiosity. And I think that is a powerful attribute, especially in the BI, the business intelligence space, because it's evolving so fast. But there's also this world of opportunity. And so I think having that attribute is, or trying to build that attribute within yourself is there's no way that you're always going to do well. There's always just so many opportunities available to you.
Yeah, I hope.
I'm sure, Alex. Okay, so let's round off. Alex, really appreciate your time on this particular episode, and we're all going to benefit a lot once we release this out to the world. And also, it's so great to have you as part of the Enterprise DNA community and producing such incredible submissions on the challenge, and really inspiring a lot of people around what can be achieved, not only within your own organization, but also within the Enterprise DNA community. So really glad to have you a part of it, and also looking forward to collaborating more in the near future. Collaborating more on the content side, and getting your perspective and your skills out more broadly to our audience, and to those with connections into Enterprise DNA. So yeah, thanks a lot for today, and really looking forward to collaborating more in the future.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you all.
Okay, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast, to the Analytic Mind. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app, and don't hesitate to leave us some feedback. We always read it. We're always trying to improve what we're doing here. So really appreciate that if you find the time to do that. Okay, let's wrap things up. Thanks everyone again. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Alex. Have a good break over New Year, and look forward to next episode. Okay, take care.